Saw dudes, a while back I made this video about Severance Enclosure, and while it was good, I felt like I could do better now. With the release of Banner of War and the exotic mission rotator, a lot of great options are now available and can elevate the build to the next level. As you could probably tell from the thumbnail, this build focuses on eating enemies alive with a combination of threadlings, finishers, and Severance Enclosure explosions. And of course, you'll be able to build a miniature army even in high-end activities like the Legend Lost sector in the background. Let's get started. Blade Fury is pretty good for locking down champions and has respectable room clearing capabilities. For this iteration of the build, I chose to use Towering Barricade for the enhanced coverage, since Rally Barricade could leave us exposed. Frenzy Blade is one of the core pieces of the build. It procs Severance Enclosure's explosions and severs enemies, reducing their outgoing damage by 40%, which lets us stay in the fight longer. Unlike the last build, I'll only be using Shackle Grenade. The suspendability it provides is invaluable for keeping priority targets on lockdown and saving us from oncoming adds. For the aspects, I chose to go with Banner of War and Into the Fray. Banner of War sends out healing pulses periodically after scoring a melee, sword, glaive, or finisher kill, with the frequency increasing with the amount of kills achieved after activation. It also buffs melee, glaive, and sword damage. Banner of War will provide us large amounts of healing while finishing enemies. Into the Fray causes Destroy Tangles to release 3 pulses that apply Woven Mail and heal allies for 10 HP each. The same effect can be achieved by casting Blade Fury. While Woven Mail is active, our melee regeneration rate is increased by 400%. The fragments for this build are Thread of Evolution, Finality, Generation, and Rebirth. Evolution causes Threadlings to travel about 30% faster and further, and make them deal 33% more damage. Finality causes finishers to spawn Threadlings with the amount scaling with the combatant type. Generation grants grenade ability energy for each damage instance we deal to enemies. Rebirth causes Strand weapon kills to spawn Threadlings based on an internal counter system. If you aren't a fan of using Strand weapons to proc Rebirth, consider switching it out for Thread of Propagation, which causes Strand weapons to gain unraveling rounds upon getting a powered melee kill. Now let's get to the Juggernaut armor. On the helmet, I used Harmonic Siphon, Special Ammo Finder, and Heavy Ammo Finder. For the chonky arms, I went with Grenade Kickstart, Impact Induction, and Heavy Handed. With Severance Enclosure, I equipped Harmonic Reserves, Melee Damage Resistance, and a Variable Resistance mod. On the Tree Trunk boots, I chose to go with Recuperation, Harmonic Scavenger, and Innervation. And on the mark was Bomber, Proximity Ward, and Rebirth. When it comes to the stat spread, max out Resilience first since it'll be required for this build to Gameloop. Then I would suggest maxing out Discipline, then Strength. Discipline lowers the Shackle Grenade cooldown for easier crowd control. Let's move on to the Weapon Loadout section. Weapon Loadout 1 uses Until Its Return, Posterity, and Tractor Cannon. Until Its Return is a great DPS monster in close quarters, especially when crafted with auto-loading holster and cascade point. Since you'll be in close range, you could also craft it with Enhanced Around It for a 47.5% damage increase. Posterity is one of my favorite 180 RPM hand cannons and pushes out our engagement distance just a little. I crafted mine with Frenzy and Volt Shot for additional damage and ad clear. Tractor Cannon is a plain and simple debuff tool. It makes clearing rooms easier. It increases the damage enemies take by 30%, essentially making our explosive finishers and Threadlings even deadlier. Weapon Loadout 2 uses the Navigator, Ikelos SMG, and Caraxes' Distress. The Navigator severs enemies from a distance and provides us with constant woven mail for 55% damage resist. This plays extremely well with Into the Fray for enhanced melee regeneration and lets us support teammates by providing them with more survivability. The Ikelos SMG is great in close range and can be crafted with Volt Shot for ad clear and Overload Champion Stunning. Caraxes' Distress is great for ad clear and some champion damage. I am looking to craft mine with Spike Grenades, Field Prep, and either Paracausal Affinity or Frenzy. Caraxes' Distress could be swapped out for Thin Precipice if you're a fan of swords. It plays well into Thread of Rebirth and Banner of War, and can be used against champions or chunkier adds. I crafted mine with Relentless Strikes and Chain Reaction. The game loop of the build is still simple. Shoot things until you see a finisher icon. If said thing does have a finisher icon, finish it. Rinse and repeat. Remember that sword and melee kills will also proc Banner of War, so don't take that off the table. When it comes to priority targets, use Frenzy Blade to reduce their outgoing damage and throw a Shackle Grenade to keep them locked in place. Finishers are your lifeline since they have built-in damage resistance and an overshield with proximity ward, so use them when you're surrounded. Chunk enemies down best you can, equip your favorite finishers, and you'll be golden. I hope you guys enjoyed this updated build. I loved revisiting it and giving it the love it deserved. Thank you all for watching and happy farming!